come up with that dog shit pick. What the fuck were we thinking? What the fuck were you thinking?
Any other questions for Coach?
That's it? 3 questions? Maybe that's because you have us ranked last. That's all what you think of us. So that we get that message. Thank you.
You do not just go disrespecting Biff Bogey. Everyone, this is the Gymnasium. I'm XFL Jim. That is Chase Lupine Fiasco of Sessions, a.k.a. the Hacksaw Stuart Rabanowitz. What's up, dude?
What's up? The disrespected Biff Poggi is hands down my favorite storyline from this college football season.
It's the best one. It's easily the best one.
It's got staying power, that's for sure.
I didn't think he would come around to your invention of the disrespected Biff Poggi.
But he showed up. He shows up. Man, you better at least ask Biff how his day was, you know? There are all sorts of acceptable questions. Like, don't let the window pass without asking Biff any interrogatives. Like, yo, Biff, what that thing smell like?
You got to at least interact with the man. Chase, it's a rare midweek gymnasium. Couldn't hook up Monday, but we got it here Wednesday. We're going to talk a little college. We're going to talk a little NFL. I don't know if we'll do any preview stuff, but we're going to talk about what happened. I don't care if it's Wednesday. We'll still talk about what happened. I want to talk disappointments of week 2 in college football. I want to talk about the winners and the losers. Same with the NFL. Let's just start with it. I'm going to start with my first winner in college football, and that was weather. Weather won.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Talk about milking those East Coast 10 and 11 o'clock games for all they were worth.
They said, which one did they – I think Purdue, Virginia.
Yeah, that went – because I was on – no, for sure it did. Because I was on Purdue on the money line, and I had to sweat that out from – 11 until like 7. It was an 8-hour sweat of a game, and it didn't go to overtime.
It was. They said that if it had to, they would like go until midnight.
Yeah. They just had to. They had to be playing football at midnight, I think, for them not to just postpone it. Which, yeah, crazy weather.
Who's your first winner of the college football week 2 weekend?
Oh, that's tough. There's one that I think is pretty simple, and I'm not going to say it because you hate them.
No, you can say it. It's fine. You can say it.
I would have to say Colorado.
It's obvious.
Yeah, for sustaining what they were able to do against TCU. Shedeur Sanders sure looks like he's going to end up being like a top 5 draft pick.
The only gripe I have against Shedeur, and he looked fucking great. He's looked great for 2 weeks. He holds on to the ball too long.
Yeah. But
like,
it's kind of...
He looks fantastic.
He reminds me of like Tua a little bit in that way. But
yeah, I respect the fact that like he always is going to believe he can make a play. They're going to be... I am assuming, and I'm betting on it, 4 weeks in a row that at least either game day or big noon kickoff will be at Colorado.
It makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about the results of the weekend, and then just, you know, how it translates to which we'll talk about, all the different conferences, who's best from top to bottom sort of thing.
That was going to bring me to my first loser, which was me. Big loser weekend for Jim. Nebraska gets embarrassed. That's one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen in anything ever. Shout out to the defense. Defense did what they could for as long as they could, but you can only hold on so long. And also, Texas winning in the way that they did. They looked good.
They did look good, but I also think that might be the worst Alabama football team of Nick Saban's tenure.
I think so too.
Not since like his first season. For one, like
penalties.
The penalties, and then on top of that, when's the last time you saw a Nick Saban secondary play so terribly.
So bad.
Like people were miles open. Like I haven't seen pursuers from Alabama do a worse job since they let Department of Corrections Jim and Pam get loose last year.
It also is hilarious and kind of in a sad way that Texas's kicker's last name is Auburn.
Oh my god, I hate it. I hate all of it. It's so much to hate in just one spoonful, you know?
It's brutal for me and it's brutal for you that Uncle Rico has Texas like winning the whole thing this year.
I still don't think it's going to happen. And
I think they're a legitimate top 10 team though.
They might be legitimate top 10, but I don't think they're a playoff team yet. Because like I said, I mean, them going into Tuscaloosa getting a win is a big deal, but that was also not what you expect out of an Alabama team. So I'm going to try not to read too much into that.
The thing is, though, like, their schedule for the rest of the season isn't terrible. Like, yeah, obviously they play
they'll
Oklahoma.
Texas it up. Don't worry, they'll Texas it up somewhere.
I called the spot, Chase. Saturday, November 18th. Texas, I will assume, will be undefeated, so they will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-0. November 18th, they go to Iowa State.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Mark it down. Bet it now if you can.
November 8th. Call it. It's on the calendars. My next winner, it's hard to find winners. I would say Miami.
The U's back, baby.
The Texas and the U both being back in the same year.
I don't think that the U is back.
I definitely don't think the U is back.
I think that they were playing a very overrated Texas A&M team. Like what did Texas A&M show us last year, and what's different this year? They're missing their top running back. They're still not going to be able to run the ball when they need to.
As like a conference, could you call the SEC a loser this week?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the record is there, and I don't know. I think we talked about it a little bit. We basically said that we didn't think it was the best top to bottom SEC that we've seen. Like, it's probably the worst we've seen in a long time. Like,
I think it's like Georgia is Georgia, and then everyone else seems kind of like wide open.
Right. And this is kind of what I was getting at earlier, is that I was thinking about who's like the best top to bottom. And I think the case might be that like it's the Pac-12 followed closely by the ACC. Then like you have to put probably
the Big 12.
Well, I was going to say probably put the SEC third because it's a big top with with Georgia.
It's a big top. And obviously
it brings up that bottom just a little bit.
I still think like when the season's said and done, I think Arkansas will prove that they're a good team. I do think Ole Miss will prove that they're like a pretty competent, decent, good team.
Yeah.
I think LSU will prove to be a pretty good team. It's hard to find them in the East. I think Tennessee will be decent.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of faith in any of the other East teams, especially like Kentucky was down to East Kentucky for a little bit there.
Somehow they just keep coming up with these huge underdog wins, Kentucky.
I think in a last hurrah, the Pac-12 might be the most exciting and entertaining conference this year.
I agree.
Little bittersweet going into it because damn it. Also, shout out Washington State for just beating Wisconsin. I don't give a shit if they're the Big Ten with me. Do it. I want these teams to get vindication.
Yeah, they deserve everything that they get before the conference just doesn't exist anymore. Which also, I was going to ask you, because I don't think I've heard any definite answer to this. Do they just promote another conference to the Power 5, or is it like a P4 and a G5?
That would be a good question.
Because I think if you promote anyone, it's the Mountain West.
I think so too. I think you could add Oregon State and Washington State to the Mountain West and just call them the Pac-12 still, maybe.
That, or I mean, I'd rather just keep the Mountain West.
I'd rather keep the Mountain West too.
Yeah.
You could do that. I mean, whatever. It works.
Yeah.
Other losers, I mean, the MAC didn't have a great showing. NIU losing to Southern Illinois. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Didn't Buffalo? Yeah, Buffalo to Fordham.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else you might consider biggest losers.
Baylor had a shot in that game.
Yeah,
And
Baylor had a shot. I don't know, like Michigan State, but that happened afterwards.
you could definitely call Michigan State a loser of the weekend. I don't understand how you think it's like she makes a living off of giving speeches telling football players not to do
Dude.
sexual assault. I don't know what
What you
Mel
were
was
thinking. On top of not knowing what Old Mel was thinking, like I don't know what Michigan State was thinking if this happened back in March after you had just who was quite like on the Mount Rushmore of sexual assault.
A school like Michigan State can't really afford to be sweeping stuff like this under the rug.
Yeah, like you already have the association of having just the goat sexual assaulter, who
You want to do those rankings in the off season?
just who the Mount Rushmore of college
sexual
sexual assault.
The Big Ten has a strong showing.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a good man. I'll tell you what. Yeah,
When you think about it, the Big Ten's got a pretty strong showing.
yeah,
Shit.
yeah. Conference of Champions, right there.
Oh fuck, dude. What do you think about your boys? How did Arkansas do? I didn't watch any Arkansas versus Kent State.
What I think it ended up being like 28-6. The offense was off track a little bit, but you also had Rocket Sanders out. You're missing a couple people out of the backfield, and you still won it with your defense. You had a pick six. You're causing turnovers, so I'm trying not to read too much into it. As someone tweeted, I think later in the week, it was like we were down 17-7 against Rice in the third quarter a couple years ago, and then had a 9-win season with the bowl game with the bowl win against Penn State. So I'm not reading too much into it.
Nah, I think you guys will be fine.
How much do you really want to show before BYU and LSU?
USC continues to just be a wagon. I'm pretty sure they were up 49-0 at half.
I thought they were going to break the scoreboard, dude. I thought they were going to have to add an extra digit.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I think USC is going to be pretty. I mean, it's the Lincoln Riley team. Their offense is always going to be lights out. They're going to drop some stupid game because of their defense.
Yeah. And was it Stanford that they played?
Yeah, they played Stanford this week.
Here's a hot take. They're playing Sacramento State this Saturday, and this is a hot take via my buddy FCS guru JD Fox. It might be worth sprinkling on the spread and on the money line on Sac State against Stanford.
They have a bye. You think Stanford? Yeah, Stanford's playing Sac. That's not a bad move.
Yeah, they're a good football program. Great FCS program.
Okay, so I'm gonna call Lincoln Riley's Lincoln Riley loss. Call me biased, Chase.
Mm-hmm. UCLA
at Cal.
That's one of those just inexplicable ones that just is a USC loss in general. I think the real Lincoln Riley loss comes to like maybe UCLA when something's actually on the line.
That's fair. And something still might be on the line and they could lose that game easily. But listen to this. This is the schedule. This is why I'm picking it. We saw Cal's offense week 1. And I believe like they could the fact they could do that to anybody, they could do it to USC.
They should have beaten Auburn 19-14. They missed like 3 field goals.
So here's the USC schedule. It's at Notre Dame, hosting Utah, at Cal, Washington.
Call me crazy. I don't think they beat Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a legit good team too.
Yeah, they got a big boy defense.
They do. That's going to be a really exciting game to watch. Other than that, let's just go through the top 25. Oh, shout out Hawaii for getting a dub on the island.
Way to go.
No, it wasn't on the island. Sorry. They were at Albany.
That means they still have to bring that tragic magic back somewhere.
Top 25, Chase. We'll start with the others receiving votes. I want quick takes. Actually, I don't give a shit if they're quick or not. James Madison got 1 vote.
Fair. I think fair. Give them another, get them on a winning streak or give them another, I don't know, not sure what they have left.
Give them like a statement win.
Yeah.
If a team like that can get a statement win, I don't know if they have any scheduled up, but if you can get James Madison. Let's see if they have anything coming up. So it's Troy next week. It's at Troy. Big game.
Yep.
Big game. Big game for JMU. Maryland got 1 vote.
Fair.
September. It's fair. Oklahoma State got 1 vote.
Fair, I guess.
Wyoming got a vote.
Oh man, they need to be much closer to the top 25.
Yeah. Fresno State 2 votes.
They also need to be much closer to the top 25.
Cincinnati 3 votes. Cincinnati surprised me.
Yeah, but they're
beat Pitt.
Yeah, but I feel like they're getting this. They shouldn't. There's no world where they shouldn't have more votes.
I would put them below both Fresno and Wyoming.
I agree.
Minnesota 3 votes.
I mean, they're undefeated. Okay.
Yeah. Mississippi State 5 votes.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Kentucky 5 votes.
Are you fucking kidding me? Were there 5 riders in the state of Kentucky?
Probably. Wisconsin 10 votes is
gross
and weird.
Yeah, they need to not be receiving any.
Tulane 17 votes.
Yeah, unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that they were missing their quarterback, so that hurts, but put up a fight.
They were one reviewed conversion away from actually maybe taking that to overtime or winning it. So
that was a good game. Kansas 19 votes.
I think that's fair.
TCU 19 votes.
Gross. Get them out of there.
No. Arkansas 33 votes.
Now we're talking.
Clemson 86 votes. Right outside. They just fell outside the top 25.
Get them out of there.
Yeah. Your top 25, starting at 25, Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes, who still have not hit the 25 points per game. And had another defensive touchdown in this last one. So
to be fair, he was never going to get that bonus because he also forgot to rake the yard and wasn't nice to his grandma.
Fucking crazy. I don't know if they get it at all this year. UCLA at 24.
I mean, they're in a tough conference and they're 2-0. Okay, I get it.
Washington State 23.
I think that's a good placement. I think it's smart putting them above UCLA.
I think so too, especially with the Wisconsin win. And UCLA has played some tough games against not the best opponents.
Right.
Miami at 22.
I think that's fair. I thought they would have taken a little bit more of a leap because how much the polls love Texas A&M.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like Miami didn't get the love from the Texas A&M win. I mean, they're going to be 3-0 because they play Bethune-Cookman next. So, they probably stay the same or jump maybe a spot, but whatever. Yeah. I think this is fair for Miami.
That's fair.
21 Duke.
I think they could be a little bit higher, but then again, I don't think that Clemson should necessarily be receiving votes, so I could see that going either way.
The fact that Clemson is receiving votes, but Duke is only 21 is kind of ridiculous.
Especially with how many votes they're receiving.
Linking those two together, Duke probably out of a lot of this group has one of the better wins.
Yeah.
North Carolina at 20. Speaking of which, like we said, App State, North Carolina, instant classic.
Yeah, and I'm actually not going to overreact to that because I think that App State is a really feisty team. They're good. They're in what could be the second, just top to bottom, best conference in the country right now. So I think they could stand to be higher. But
I trust their offense at least, fully. Yeah. 19 Oklahoma. Honestly, we know nothing. We know nothing about Oklahoma. They've played who?
Yeah,
they play Tulsa this week. So.
They could have also snuck, just kind of put Oklahoma in the top 15 based on name. And so I'm kind of really glad they didn't do that.
Shout out that one black guy. Love you, man. 18 Colorado, which it feels right.
I think that's a good number for them.
I think so too. And we're Colorado's another team that I feel like we know very little about.
Yeah.
Because they played a team with a really bad defense and then a team with maybe the worst offense that I've ever seen.
Right. Let's see how they do against a balanced team.
So we still won't know because they play Colorado State this week.
For sure.
So I wouldn't be surprised if after this week Colorado's in the top 15.
I wouldn't either because I think you'll have
some teams fall.
Yeah, you'll have some upset somewhere. 17
Ole Miss. I I mean, the Tulane win is good.
Tulane win is good.
I think
that's
anywhere.
fair.
I feel like Ole Miss, Colorado, and Oklahoma, you could kind of. I would probably put, honestly, based on just the wins that they have, I'd put Duke ahead of. I'd put Duke probably ahead of all these teams.
Yeah, that's fair.
16, Oregon State. Go Beavs.
Go Beavs. I maybe a little bit lower, but that's just personal skepticism that DJU will keep it up for the entire season.
Agreed. 15, Kansas State.
Yeah, I guess there's no reason for them not to be at this point. They were
little disrespectful,
maybe, but we'll see. We'll see what the Big 12 shakes out to be.
They play Missouri this week. I don't know if we learn anything based off of that, but
yep.
14, LSU. 1-1 LSU, ranked 14th.
So I agree with your take that why it's week 2. Why do we have 1-loss teams?
At the end of the year, yes, I think LSU will be a good team.
That's the thing is like if I look at this from like a projection standpoint, then yeah, I think I would project LSU to finish about this spot. But I also respect the fact that yeah, exactly, and also respect the fact that at this point they're a 500 football team, and so they should have to play their way back into the top 25.
Exactly, and we'll get to that later too because I feel the same way about another team. 13 is Oregon. Which
okay, yeah.
Fine,
they could even be a little bit higher, I guess.
Yeah. They've looked good. 12 is Utah.
Same thing as Oregon.
Yeah, also like Utah, we don't know because obviously they have like a bunch of players hurt and out. Like I don't know what Utah will like.
Yeah.
If they get Cam Rising back, they could be a great team.
And Florida is like on a mission to make that win against Florida look less impressive.
Yep. Yes, they are. 11 is Tennessee.
Fair, I guess.
Fair. They've looked shaky, but like it's Tennessee. They have the last year momentum. It's Tennessee. It's fine. I'm fine with that. 10, Alabama.
Listen, and I actually think that Saban would probably actually like it better if they did this. They're 1-1. Kick them out of the top 25.
Yep, get them out of there. I'm saying it.
Saban would love that.
He would absolutely love that.
That's why I'm kind of surprised it's not the case.
Number 9, Notre Dame.
Fair. That's a good football team.
That's a good football team.
I could even put them up a little bit higher.
I probably would because they played an extra game. They're one of the few teams that are 3-0.
True, and
it was Navy. Like to be fair, Notre Dame hasn't played like the stiffest competition.
No, I mean they had Navy, and which though was in Dublin, and they handled business. Then they played Tennessee State, of course, handled business, and then
NC State?
just they put it, and they ended up putting it on NC State late.
Yes, they did. Number 8, Washington.
Could be higher.
I think could be higher. Number 7, Penn State.
I mean, all I've really seen was that West Virginia game, and they had a lot more trouble with West Virginia than you would expect, but you can kind of excuse it because it's an opener. I do love that James Franklin disrespect covers games whenever they do the ring around the rosy.
Yep. I love that. I think Penn State their defense is fantastic. It's all about the quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be all right, but I would put him above the team that is above him. At number 6, you have Ohio State.
Yeah, definitely. Ohio State.
They've looked shaky, dude. They've looked shaky.
They've looked like a fringe top 10 team.
I mean, this is just based on history. I assume they'll get it together.
True.
Like Ohio State seems to always get it together, but I would not have them.
They're starting. Was it McCord now?
Yeah,
is the plan?
I'd have them at 10 at like the high because they're undefeated and you have the Ohio State bias, but I would have them at 10.
Yeah, I honestly I would have them like fringe top 10. Not anywhere 9 through 11, and if they lost, I would put them. If they lost before they play against Michigan State, I'd honestly knock them back down to like 17-8 or play against Michigan either 17-18, 19.
Number 5, USC.
Probably should be higher. Honestly, probably should be around 3.
Probably should be. Number 4, Texas.
I honestly see them as a fringe top 5, like a 6 or 7.
I feel like the namesake of beating an Alabama team, even an Alabama team that looks like this,
Yeah.
is gonna boost them so high. I feel like top 4 is right at the moment.
I had this weird flashback whenever Quinn Ewers caught his own pass in that game. I was like, oh my God. Johnny Football did this at Alabama and beat Alabama at Alabama. I think we're getting a second Johnny Footballing.
Oh, that would be sick because then Texas would just go 9-3.
Right.
Number 3, Florida State.
I bump them down to 4-ish, put USC up above them.
I'd probably agree with you there. Number 2, Michigan.
I guess. Knock
look
them down
good.
to 5, I
They
guess.
look really good. The Harbaugh stuff is stupid.
Yeah.
I do think Michigan right now is a top 5, top 4 team. Number 1, Georgia. Yeah.
Pretty much. Like, I don't know. There are a lot of people who smell blood in the water with SEC, but I also have like eyes in the front of my face that tell me that this Georgia team is just different and better than everybody else in college football.
I smell
And it's
blood
not
in
like
the
they
water.
have to. It's not like they have to play Murderers Row to get to the
Exactly.
CFP either.
I smell blood in the water with the SEC sans Georgia. Like every team not Georgia in the SEC, I could see losing to almost a lot of the other teams.
Yeah, it seems like people who I don't know. I feel like we're really finally seeing the full effect of NIL in college football, and that full effect is that it's making it have just a shit ton more parity from top to bottom.
It felt a little bit this way last year, and then you're feeling a little bit this year. Obviously, like your top team, I don't know, like for the last 2 or 3 years, Georgia has just felt head and shoulders above everybody.
Yeah, and I'm sure, but I'm also sure they're the case of like I think their NIL is strong, and then also right now they're the number 1 team, and everyone wants to play for them.
Yeah, it kind of like just domino effects.
Yeah, you know what's fun? Not losing football games while you go to college.
Yeah, and also being on like the biggest stage.
Yeah.
Chase, we had NFL Week 1.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'll go through. Let's do the one word association with each game real quick, and then we can just talk about the games that we want to talk about.
Okay.
I want one word from each of these games. Lions Chiefs.
Kneecaps.
Butterhands is mine. Butterhands.
That's right. Because if Kadarius Toney was on Deadliest Catch, it would just be called Cold Boat Ride.
Falcons Panthers. Didn't watch.
Just meh.
Ravens Texans.
Underwhelming.
J.K. Dobbins injury all the time.
Yeah. That's a good one word association.
Yep.
It's a lot of hyphens, Jim.
Browns Bengals. Payday.
Bag. Yeah.
Yeah. Or assault. You could use assault too.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering. So here, we'll talk about this one for a second. Someone was telling me that they were all over the Browns, and I like it. That was a trendy spot. I wasn't really on it, but then I saw Joe Burrow got the bag like the hours before, and I was like, dude, he just got that bag. Like how, especially with that much guaranteed, like he cares. He definitely wants to win, but it's like I can understand just being like, God damn, I'm worth $219 million guaranteed now. Like,
yeah, you know he partied like right after.
Yeah, for sure.
Jags Colts.
Future.
Yeah, future. I like that one. Bucks Vikings. Baker.
Vikings lost this, didn't they?
Yeah, Bucks won it 2017.
You say Baker. I will say banger.
I'm pretty sure we both had the Vikings winning that in our predictions. Just to.
Oh, of course we did.
Saints Titans.
Here's a one word hyphenated kick and wing. needed some hot sauce on that dry rub kick and wing there.
Got it though.
Got it, but didn't get the -3 because they kicked the fucking Vrabel kicked the fucking field goal and then tried to get a stop and then couldn't get the stop where if they would have made the Saints just kick another field goal to cover. Just how dare you, Mike Vrabel? I used to like you.
Niners Steelers. Murder.
Domination.
Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Commanders Cardinals. Gross.
Mr. Howell.
Packers Bears. Owner.
Lol Bears.
Yup. Raiders Broncos.
Oh, didn't see how this one turned out. What was it?
Raiders 17, Broncos 16.
Irredeemable.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think that Russell Wilson just might be irredeemable and might end up being the death of Sean
Look
Payton.
bad, though. He didn't even look that bad.
You could tell Sean Payton is just not with it, though.
Oh, for sure. Dolphins Chargers. Classic.
Grown man arm.
Yeah, he looked. Yeah. This is probably Tua's best game I've ever seen him play. I'm gonna lay that out there. Also, Tyreek Hill. I love doing this after week 1. I think he's on pace for over 3,000 yards receiving.
Oh no, it's like 7,000 yards receiving. It's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ! Like, is there MVP talks if he gets over like 2,000 yards receiving on the year?
That needs to be. I think that because Justin Jefferson did Justin Jefferson win the MVP a couple years ago? I remember. I know he won like top wide receiver, but there was talk that he should have won MVP.
I think so. I don't think he won it, but let me see.
I think you have to start giving these awards to
Quarterbacks.
non-quarterbacks.
Can you name the last non-quarterback who won? It
Um,
was in 2012.
It's got to be a running back, right?
Yep, he played at Oklahoma.
Played at Oklahoma. It's 2012. I don't know, man.
Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah, that's right. I sometimes forget because he's been in the NFL for like
Forever.
six college careers.
Where were we? Eagles, Patriots.
Weather.
Weather. Rams, Seahawks. Rookies.
Yeah, rookies. They had that. What's that? Puka. What's his name? Puka Nakua. I need to see if he's available in my fantasy league. Probably not.
Cowboys, Giants. Jesus.
Murderization.
Yeah, disintegration. Embarrassing is another one. Embarrassing. You can't get waxed in a home opener like that.
Well, here's the other thing: is like Dallas is the dome team. Like you need to, if you're a team that plays outdoors like that in the elements, like you can't get spanked by the dome team that's visiting. So thinking about this game, like I remember like up until like the last few years when I played sports, it's like there are people who are like, yeah, I like it grimy kind of people who just like play so much better in that shit. And I think Dallas just like is one of those teams, and the Giants, weirdly, even though where they are not.
I think it's just because Dallas has that defense. With that defense, they can just get grimy with teams.
Yeah, but I mean, with the weather, you also just really kind of feel like you kind of limited everything that they could do on offense, and then you also have to think like, okay, dry ball. How many of those turnovers do they have?
Fair.
Maybe not as many. Are they better than the Giants? Yeah, but I don't think that. I feel like this next week will be a good week to catch an overreaction against the Giants.
I think so too. Jets, Bills.
Oh my God.
Achilles.
Just Olympus has fallen. Dude, so I didn't know I had the power to do this with my mind because I definitely wished Aaron Rodgers a safe start because he was too important
your buddy
to
now. You're rooting for him now.
Yeah, because he's too important to the UAP disclosure movement. And then that shit happens and someone was saying like, I guess he hates play calls where the offensive lineman like cut blocks.
Yeah,
and like they tried to do it a couple times and he ended up on his ass. And dude, just like I don't know, like but I still think the Jets are going to be pretty. Like if Zach Wilson can somewhat get his shit together, and I don't think he's without hope because it's not like that game plan they made that they've been practicing all week was for Zach Wilson. Do you think there was ever a world where they thought Zach Wilson was going to play in that game? So maybe he learned a little bit. Maybe he grew up. You know, it's humbling to be benched a couple times and everyone think you not suck. So maybe he's got finally got that full chip on his shoulder, and they end up being just fine.
They're going to be a very interesting team with that defense in particular. They're going to be a very interesting team to watch. Any other game you want to highlight?
No, man. No, I think we hit everything there.
Top 5 NFL teams, Chase, right now. Power rank. I got 49ers at 1.
I'll go 49ers 1, Cowboys 2. I'll go Eagles 3.
I'll go Dolphins in 4.
Oh yeah, Dolphins 4. And then let's see. Packers 5.
Yeah, that Packers offensive line is good. I can't tell. I don't know if the Packers offensive line is that good or the Bears defensive rush is just that bad.
It's and the Eagles, I mean, probably should be in there, but also they just didn't they didn't just throttle anybody or anything.
Yeah. Oh, dude, did you see that shit with the alien in Mexico right now?
Yeah,
they're autopsying.
Yeah, the mummified aliens.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I believe they're from Peru, and they're supposedly a couple thousand years old. It's supposedly been debunked, but also at the same time, if it's been debunked, well, it is Mexican Congress. It's not Congress.
Update for us on the prediction scales. Let's take a quick look real quick before we get out of here. How do we think we're doing, Chase?
I'll say in the 70-ish% range.
So I don't know overall, but for college football week 2, you and I went 74%. You went 65%. Your unbridled hate towards Auburn and Kentucky kind of hurt you on those because they're
almost
on both of them.
Yeah.
NFL, Chase, we tied in the NFL. We both went 64.29%, getting 9 wins and 5 losses.
That's not too bad for straight up. There were some upsets, you know.
So you had the ones that we had different. You had the Commanders over the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And I had which one did I have that you didn't have? Oh, I had the Falcons over the Panthers.
Gotcha.
That was where we differed.
Fair.
Week two, I think we got a lot. Dude, week 2, I think we mashed up in almost all the games.
That sounds about right. It was easy. It's easy to do in the NFL.
Yeah. Oh, no, you got the Jags beating the Chiefs this week.
Feels possible.
Anything else you want to shout out before we dip out for the people?
I'm good.
Awesome. I'm good too. Y'all know where to find us. We're around. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Gymnasium. We love you. Kisses. Bye-bye.